Mississippi church is burned to the ground. Churches are reopening across the nation. We visit the Babylon Bee for some breaking news, and Micah has his top 5 reasons is why wearing a mask is a benefit. I'm Chris, that's Micah, and this is the Daily Radical.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back. We had a few weeks break, but we are back with the Daily Radical. I'm Micah, that's Chris. We are so excited that you have joined us once again. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button to make sure that you get notified of all of our content that's coming out. Also, if you're on Spotify, be sure to follow us and give us a good rating. We're excited that you've joined us. Thank you for making us a part of your podcast rotation. It's been 2 weeks. Chris, what is going on, man?
I know, man. It's been 2 weeks. I think people get nervous, that hadn't heard any fresh content from the Daily Radical, but people still were chiming in. People were joining up on these subscriptions, so they were archiving. So if you have been caught up, go and binge watch us, our last 10 episodes, and get caught up and get acquainted. And you know what? It looks like, Micah, we might be almost out of this. So, who knows in the near future here, we might be doing the show face to face.
Hopefully,
we'll see.
It's coming to an end, or at least the lockdown is coming to an end. I mean, we knew it couldn't happen forever, even though Gavin Newsom here in California would have preferred it to be forever. But he had to let us go. Pharaoh had to let people go.
His people go.
Yes, and so we
let
are
my people go.
We are going back to church. Churches are reopening. You talked about that, and you're open there.
Yeah.
It's a crazy time. It's exciting. I feel like everyone is just like chopping at the bit. Although some people aren't really chopping at the bit to get back to church. I was talking to someone today, and they were telling me, a pastor, and he was telling me how there's a lot of people that just aren't ready to jump back into services yet. Still a little bit nervous, I think, but all in all, I think that everyone's excited that they want to get back to normal.
Yeah.
I think that's what's
and I think the biggest thing that's been on my mind with this is really curious about how each church is how we're going to do it. So with those of you've been updated to the news, or at least have heard, President Trump has declared in these phases of opening up that churches are now essential. And he put great pressure on each governor of each state to make sure, hey, make this a priority to make this happen. And so I know recently here in California, some regulations going to be a few of them briefly for those of you maybe who don't know. They're saying as of right now that you cannot have any more than 100 worshipers or 25% of your church congregation, whatever number is smaller at one time. They want churches to take temperatures of everybody coming in. So I know when we were visiting the hospital, it was routine for us to get a temperature check. I know some places are doing that, but now they're saying churches also have to be able to do that as well. Things like handshaking, offering plates, things like that. They say they don't want to take place. So a number of things, and one thing they're limiting, they said there's the singing as well, which I thought was pretty interesting. So these are a few of the guidelines. I know at least here in California, they're putting out there for us.
Yeah, the singing was tied to, they found, or at least they determined that there was a choir that happened up in Washington where I guess there was like a super breakout during like a choir practice or something like that.
Wow.
And so that's where they're coming with the singing. Like they don't mass choirs and stuff like that. And that could obviously be a problem.
Did you say masked choirs?
Mass.
Like a mask. That's gonna be now. It's gonna be masked choirs.
Oh, like on
you get it?
On a boat. Oh, masked. Oh,
masked choirs. Yes.
Isn't a mast on a boat? Is that
mast?
No, the mast. M-A-S. The M-A-S-T. I don't know. Okay, whatever.
I was like a mask, like the mask we've have to wear.
Mask choir would definitely sound different. You know what I mean? Like. Just kidding. Okay,
it might be watch some of the Art Improvement. So I don't know. all those toned.
You would sound much better with a mask on. Joke.
I'll go see something really checked up, but
that's mean.
I know. Oh my goodness.
No, everyone sings.
You
great.
look.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I wonder how many couples have met during this whole mask thing, and then when this current thing's over, they take off the mask and they're like, "Oh my gosh,
Like,
I gotta go."
oh man.
It's
I
like
have a I have
it's
a top five on that, by the way. A new
yes,
segment. I'm excited to reveal. We'll
top
do that a little bit
five.
later, but yeah,
I
top
can't
five,
wait.
and I'm gonna do a different one. I'm gonna try to do a different one every once in a while. But
Micah told me this. Micah told me this in the show prep about this top five, and I felt like, even though you never really have mentioned this before, I felt like this was coming. I felt like something like this is gonna happen. Like we're gonna get a list of this is what I gotta say about this. So I'm excited for that top five, dude. That's
well,
actually one of the highlights for tonight. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna have to rip up my notes right now of what I had to talk about. No,
well,
no,
well,
I look forward to getting into that later tonight, though. I
yeah.
really do.
Let's do that. Let's do that. So before we get into this, though, I just wanted to share some thoughts that I had. First of all, breaking news last Thursday. Well, we're recording this on Monday. It's released on Tuesday, but last week Joe Biden made a declaration
Oh no.
about Black people, and it is coming true. I want to share this with our viewers on YouTube. On Spotify, you're just going to have to kind of listen along. But Babylon B reporting once again, a Black man voted Republican and he immediately turned white. I mean, instantaneously, because obviously, if you vote Republican, according to Joe Biden, you are not Black.
Say
So
you ain't no. He said you ain't black.
you ain't
You ain't
Black,
black. You ain't
Jack.
black. He didn't say you are not black. He said you ain't black because it really resonates, with
He was being
so
woke. He was
so
being
basically
Ebonics. He was using Ebonics there.
ebonics.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
dude.
yeah, that's from the Babylon Bee, though. That's legit. That's a legit source, though. Straight up, that happened.
you know what I like I said, I wake up every morning,
Yep.
kiss my wife good morning, hold my babies in my hand, then go to the Babylon Bee. So
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, he is offending everybody with that statement, or, just about everyone. Everybody but the Democrats, of course. A lot of people just trying to say it was a joke. But I wasn't really offended because I don't really get offended by politicians. Don't really care,
yeah,
except for certain things like abortion. But stuff like this doesn't
yeah,
offend me.
yeah,
Like, I was
yeah.
like, whatever. Like, you're an idiot. Like, oh, can I say that?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can say whatever you want.
I
It's
shouldn't say
free.
that. It's kind of mean.
It's interesting. I just noticed, and I can't really comment too much because I didn't really dive too deep into it. So I don't want to go left field. But I did notice that it was, I think it was CNN or one of the more of a liberal news station, we'll say, and there was a black. I think it was they were interviewing someone who was black, and they were Democratic, but they were trying to defend Joe Biden in a way, but it was
Oh
really
yeah.
difficult to defend them in that statement because
Oh
it was
yeah.
so blatant and just confusing and just so I was kind of chuckling to myself, just kind of this. They're trying to no, he meant this and he meant
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just see him just struggling in this, and it's clear to listen, man, left or the right. It was really dumb thing to say, Come on, let's just. It was a super dumb thing to say, so don't feel you have to defend it, but it's just crazy,
Well,
what else is gonna say?
yeah, I mean, they're trying to defend him. They're trying to say, "Oh, he was just joking. It was ill-advised joke," but he
Yeah.
apologized. So let's just move on. That's the Democrats' line. Like, move on. Let's just. There's nothing new here. There's nothing to see here. It's over. He apologized. Let's just move on now. It's like, oh, okay. So he's just gonna get away with saying like a completely racist thing. By the way, I mean that's pretty ridiculous.
And let's aside from whatever your stance is, left or right, and just the fact that if this was President Trump that said
Oh
anything
man,
close to that,
yeah,
he
no,
would have been on the clothes hanger. You know what I mean? It would have been just
it would have been
off the
horrible.
chain. It would have been horrible. So whether it was Joe, whether it's anybody, the fact that we're living in a political climate that here we have, anything that Trump would say, it's like, oh, that's it. Let's do an investigation. Let's dig up his
Yeah,
history of his racial slurs. And then we have, here, obviously the candidate that they're pushing that potentially could be the candidate. He's not yet nominated yet, right? He's not the official.
not officially because they haven't had their convention, right? I
Okay.
think their
Okay.
convention was supposed to happen in June, Democratic National Convention. I don't know. I'm not really that big into politics. I follow it,
Yeah.
but I'm not really
Yeah.
that big into
Yeah.
it. One thing that I thought was interesting, and I just lost my train of thought, but there was something I was going to say that was going to be interesting, which would have been a surprise for this
That's how real and raw the show is. Like
Yeah,
we're
we're
not
not
even
like,
scripted.
no,
No,
I don't have the
we
notes
yeah.
out.
No, we talked about church opening. Have we talked about
Man, I
church
had
opening yet?
something really powerful to say though about, oh, it was super
Boom.
powerful. Like the
Sit
Holy
down,
Ghost
everybody.
spoke to
Sit
me.
down.
Not really. There was no Holy Ghost. But you know what Joe Biden does for me though? Joe Biden makes me feel like I could be the best public speaker ever. Like whenever I get down on myself about
Yeah,
like talking in front of people, I just like think of Joe Biden and I just think, well, at least you're not that bad. Like he really does. Like
yeah,
every time
yeah,
he talks, I'm like, man, that guy cannot, he can't put together like thoughts, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so every time like I watch him, I just feel a little bit better about like, you know what? I'm going to be okay. You know, I'm going to be okay. I'm not that bad. Right. So he should
It's like
encourage all of us that are
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
speak in public and stuff. And he should be an encouragement to you. You should say, hey, at least you're not as bad as Joe Biden, because it's really that bad. I cringe. Like I cringe so bad.
Cringy.
Anyway,
It's
just a
like those
thought.
YouTube videos that say, I see him, this say that when you're down about your life, it's a bunch of fail videos of people just doing really dumb stuff, so when you're down about your life, you know what I mean. And so thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe,
Thank you,
for
Joe.
inspiration, encouragement comes from the oddest places. Who would
Yes.
who would say that? You'd be sitting here today, who would know that you're saying thanks, Joe? When I listen to you, I know I can make it. I know I can make it.
I know I
So
don't
Joe,
sound that
yes. So
dumb.
politics. So again, so coming up November, we are in for interesting time. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
With that going on, recently, which has been circulating the news quite heavily. We're a couple days late on this. Again, last couple weeks we've been off. Family and whatnot. But a church in Mississippi, Holly Springs, Mississippi, a church got
Yeah.
burned down. This is recent. So, and it was arson. And
What
there's
church was
a
that again?
graffiti written on there just saying, "Stay at home."
Which church was that again?
What was that?
Which church
Over in
was that?
Holly Springs, I think it's First Pentecostal Church of Holly Springs.
Hmm.
Is that yeah? So
I assume so. I missed it
yeah,
when you said it there, and
yeah.
it's a very important. So this is a Pentecostal church. Was
Yeah, Pentecostal church, and so what's interesting is that a lot of people are bringing out is that this particular church was I guess was at that point was currently in a battle with the local community because they got
mm,
cited twice for having in-person services. So
mm,
the county was allowing for like a drive-up service, like many churches have been doing. You can drive up, I guess, sit in your car, but they had a couple services where the in person they were cited, and so at this time the church was in this lawsuit with Holly Springs itself, and so in the midst of this lawsuit, the church get burnt down. There's not really connection, as far as like the city do anything like that. That's been thrown out there. But in the midst of this, someone took it upon themselves to believe that they're going to be the solution to all this and
yeah,
just burn the church down. And so it's horrible. Whatever church it was, whatever denomination it was, the fact that a place of worship is being burnt down is horrific. So it's a pretty straightforward story, but just that's happening right now.
yeah,
So maybe some people, I'm not saying it's a rampant thing happening right now. We see people taking the law in their own hands to stop these public gatherings,
sure,
but this is definitely a very sad story that church was damaged. And again, any of you who have a strong church community and have a local church that you call home, it's just tragic. So definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to these people, but just overall it's just really really horrible thing that happened.
yeah. So what I think about, and I did see this on Facebook initially. And to be honest with you, I didn't really believe it when I saw it on Facebook, because I don't really trust Facebook anything that I see on there. But then it started showing up on the news,
Mm-hmm.
Fox News, because that's where Christians go to get our
That's where
news.
you got to get the information from.
So it's kind of crazy. But as you start to read into a story, they believe it's an arsonist, right?
Mm-hmm.
That did it,
Yeah.
and the arsonist, I guess, left a message, something about
Yeah.
now you're not going to be gathering or something
Well,
like
it
that.
says, bet you stay home now, hypocrites.
Yeah, bet.
Hypocrites.
I'm
Bet.
guessing that person didn't take English very well. But anyway,
No, and hypocrites, he put a K in it. Did you not?
so anyway, but the point though is that I would suggest is, we're not going to levy blame. Obviously, the arsonist is to blame,
Yeah.
but this goes back to our conversation about Tony Spell in
Hmm.
Louisiana. I don't mean to keep bringing this guy up, but this is the problem that
Yeah.
when your church, when you pit your church against your community, right? And it's what kind of testimony are you giving
Yeah.
to the people in your community? It's just not a good testimony. It's not a good representation of God and the
Yeah.
kingdom of God to the community. And you're always going to have those people in your community that hate your church and that want to burn your church to the ground.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't give them any fire, any more reason, right, to go ahead and do this. I mean, what if someone was in an all-night prayer meeting, or what if
Yeah. Yeah.
for whatever reason there was a youth something, anything that someone's cleaning the church,
Exactly.
it could have been horrible. I think the responsibility is on all of us as ministers and leaders to work hard at making sure that the church is working together to live peaceably with all men. That's what Paul tells us, right?
Yeah.
So our goal is to have peace.
Hmm.
It's to be now. There's a time for civil disobedience. There's a time for all this, but that's we haven't gotten there, And there's a lot
Yeah.
of people talking about that today, even with this COVID-19. Luckily, Donald Trump came out and told the governors to hasten the
Yeah.
church's
Yeah.
return and all this stuff. So we haven't got there, but there were a lot of people starting to talk like that, and this is the outcome, right? This is what you don't want to start happening, is this type of thing. So anyway, that's my thought. Anyway.
I don't think the beginning of arson and destruction, but like churches starting to open, we're gonna start seeing community backlash, because everybody's happy that churches are opening again, and everybody's happy that even some establishments are opening up again. And so I think this is the first, again, hopefully not at this magnitude, but definitely be hearing in the next months to come, weeks and months to come, of churches opening and the community backlash, out of fear, out of fear, out of concern, I guess, of what could be in their eyes a second wave of too many people come together.
Yeah.
Anyway, so definitely, if you're a Christian out there, be safe. Again, whatever your place of worship establishes to be those guidelines, just follow them. Just be happy you're going to church again. Let's not rock the boat. Let's let this thing unfold as it should.
Yeah.
Some pastors actually are waiting. Actually, they're not jumping to the bit to open up right away. They're actually waiting a little bit to for some dust to settle, because it's gonna be a huge wave of churches gonna be opening up. There's going to be probably a wave of situations that come up. So I know some pastors are actually playing it safe and just wait a little bit before we reopen, because something might unfold a little bit more. So that
Yeah.
could, we'll see,
That's
we'll see.
wisdom.
But I know we're, yeah,
That's wisdom
yeah,
to me. I mean, I don't think that I think there's a need for us to get back together, but I think that we should be doing it responsibly in a way that we can get back together.
yeah,
So as you mentioned, 100 people or 25% of capacity. Um, the good part about that is it's most churches in America are less than 100 people. So for a lot of churches, they'll be able to gather
yeah,
together, and it'll be good. But yeah, it is definitely, and there's some states that in cities that this isn't going to be that big of a deal. But
yeah,
churches in New York and California,
yeah,
or in some
yeah,
of these major cities like Chicago, that might be an issue. So um, doing our best, like not to be make it a political thing. It's not a political
no,
thing, but to be wise. And I think the jury's still out, obviously, because we don't know if we're going to see a second wave hit in October, but
yeah, yeah,
we'll see. And we trust God, but if there is, they've talked about another lockdown. Donald Trump has said, in the news that he's not going to shut down the government again in the fall. Each state. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? We more than likely will see a second wave hit because of of just the fact that we,
Yeah.
there's like herd immunity conversation. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to act like I know what I'm talking about, but everything that I've read is suggesting that we probably will see another wave hit it when
Hmm.
the flu season comes back around.
Yeah.
So, we trust God, and we'll just kind of sort through it. But it does feel good that churches are opening up again. That does
Yeah.
feel there's like a certain excitement there. And yeah, yeah. So I
You
know for
know,
your
I am gonna miss waking up in my pajamas.
church in pajamas feels good. I have to admit that.
It
Yes.
does, it does. I remember when this first hit. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm one of those that yeah, let's not lie. It was tough and upsetting, but a part of me was like, okay, okay, you know what I mean? Like, get him a cup of coffee here, get some worship going on, and hear a good word, and then my pew was my couch, and my prayer, my times of prayer right there in the living room, you know what I mean? And so it
Yeah.
was a good season. We've talked about this many times, what it brought to the home, to families that again, that embraced it. So we'll see what comes out of it. That's all we can do right now is be patient and wait to
Yeah.
see what unfolds. And so, but while you're being patient and waiting, you better hit that subscribe button right now on the YouTube channel. We are back. We were out for a couple weeks, being with family. Me, my new family, and Micah, visiting family. So, but definitely catch up with us with the Daily Radical. New episodes coming out every week, and we'll look forward to getting connected to you. And on our Spotify, which is our main podcast connection, please get on there and follow. If you are connected through another podcast feed, you definitely can type in the Daily Radical, and our logo will pop up. You can be connected with us. But I don't want to wait any longer, Micah. I've been sitting here biting at the bit for this top 5 that
All
that you
right.
have constructed together, because
All right.
I really feel like this is the rest of the show.
So, okay, so top 5, and I want to do some just kind of give you kind of a heads up. So the top 5 benefits of wearing a face mask that have nothing to do with COVID-19 and staying safe and not spreading the virus and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
I was, just kind of thinking on this, and I actually didn't think much about this at all. It just kind of came to me. So there are a few things that I want to present to you. The top 5. This is going to be the top 5 benefits of wearing a face mask. And I'm not sure if benefits is the right word, just top 5, changes that things that change, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So number 5, the first thing that you might not realize is that there is no more smiling at people. So when you're out in public, right? Like you just want to smile to be friendly, like, you know what I mean? Like, no, there's none of that, because you
No,
can smile, but you just realize it turns into like an awkward stare. Like you can't see me smiling, so it just turns into like me staring at you, and that's just awkward. And
let's hope they. Okay, well, if you notice the upper part, the cheeks go up. You can kind of get an indication. You know what I mean? And so
maybe,
it's a lot
but
of.
I can only see the eyes, though. I can only see
I
the
think the
eyes.
eyes. I think people are more attention with the eyes and the eyebrows. It's become a major focal point now.
It's gonna be like
Like,
a surprise, like, hey,
hey,
just
what's
don't do
up?
like
What's up?
the
Those of
double
you who
eyebrow
aren't
raise.
watching the YouTube channel, you got to watch this, because we're just like communicating with like our eyes right
Can you
now.
just communicate with your eyes? Is that possible? Like you could, like, is that possible to communicate just with your eyes? Like if it's a double blink, we all know the wink, right? Like, okay, the
Wasn't
wink.
there like a military prisoner that blinked Morse code?
Okay,
There,
yeah. So you could do Morse code with your blinking, but are we
yeah,
going to go to
blinking.
like our smiling, like, hi, like I'm smiling at you with blinking, like rapid blink.
Dude, one time I met this pastor, and he had this twitch in one of his eyes,
Oh no.
so it looked like he was winking, but I didn't know this when I first met him. And we were sitting sitting lunch at his home, and he kept on like doing that,
Winking at you.
and he was like winking. And the wife had brought it up. They had a really good sense of humor in his family, so they kept on bringing it.
Nice.
So they brought it up, and I started laughing. Okay, I thought he was trying, like, winking at me or something like that. I don't know what was going on, dude. Anyway,
Did you
sorry.
get the joke? Did you get the joke?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we have great saints. Wink.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So number 5, there's no more smiling. Number 4, benefit or change of these coronavirus and what wearing a face mask is going to do is there's no more lip reading. So I don't know if you, but I really relied upon reading people's lips. And so when they're talking to me, like I would look down and like, what are they saying? Like I would put that together. Now, not only I'm already kind of deaf anyway, my wife tells me I'm deaf. And so like, it's hard for me to hear. And so I'm constantly like, excuse me, what did you say? Can you say that again? Like one more time? Like,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
have a mask on anyway. So it's already hard to hear what they're saying. And then it becomes extremely frustrating actually, because I can't hear them. I can't talk right because I have a mask on. It's just like, oh my goodness, this is just not working. Like we're yelling at each other, like through the glass, right? So they have a mask, I have a
It's like
mask.
talking
There's a
through a
glass.
sock. It's like talking through a
Oh
sock.
man, it's great. It's
We
wonderful, but
the whole
there's no more understanding people though. Like
no.
it's like my hard of hearing is getting worse by the day. I feel like, and anyway, but I did rely very heavily on lip reading. You can't do that anymore. Like there's no connection. So that's number four.
Dude.
Number three is that it's kind of a double hit here, and that is that people now have an excuse to ignore you because they can't really tell you because you're only getting half the face, right? So you're not
Yeah.
really sure. And if you have like a hat on or something like that, like it's an excuse for them to ignore you. But on the flip side of that coin, it's also an excuse for you to ignore them. So it's kind of a double whammy there. So you can actually ignore people and just
Yeah.
use the excuse, oh, I didn't recognize you with your,
Oh
your
my
face
goodness.
mask. And, so that's my number three. Number four, I don't know, is this three, four? I don't even know where I'm at right now.
I think it's three maybe.
I think it was three and four. This is my last one. This is number five. This is probably the most awkward one out of all of them. Because we're wearing the face mask, you will find more awkward eye contact. Now, let me explain this one. I have experienced more awkward eye contact. And the reason is because people are putting stuff on their face mask now. Like they're putting like logos and stuff. Like it's just on their face mask. They're using it as like a advertisement for like their church or something like this, or whatever. So I find myself looking at their face mask, like, what's on your face mask? And then I catch their eyes looking at me, looking at their face mask, and I'm
And
like,
they're like, excuse me, sir, my eyes are up here, mister.
and I'm like, this is awkward. I was just looking at your face mask. I'm not gonna look at your face mask anymore.
Oh my
So
gosh.
more awkward eye contact
You
because
know
of
what?
these face masks.
This is where maybe me and Mike could differ, you know what I mean, in our personalities is that if people are walking and they're making eye contact with me, like the awkward moment, I'd be like, what's up, dude? Like, I'll be like, what's up? I'll be like, hey, what's up? How's it going?
But with your face mask on, it'll sound like
So we did like as we said before, like my sons were premature, so they're in the NICU for a while. So all the full of nurses, so the hospitals, like everybody's wearing face masks. Like we were wearing face masks too. So I feel bad because like all these great nurses helped my kids, like in the past like few weeks. I didn't even recognize them. I couldn't even tell them from Walmart. I can't
Yeah.
I didn't even know like their smiles and that was the joke. Like, I used to say all the time, like, I'm smiling right now, guys. I'm just really happy right now. So they had outside, they had all the photos of all the nurses that worked in this particular department. So when me and my wife would leave, we would take a moment to see what nurses we thought may have helped us that day based on their eyes, and so
Nice.
it's definitely gazing
Yeah.
you gaze into people's eyes a lot more now.
There's definitely more eye contact. So that is my top 5 benefits to wearing a face mask and how it's changing our lives. So hope you enjoyed that.
Lives. It will never be the same. We'll never be the same.
Never be the same.
So let me ask this, like,
yeah, go ahead.
what was that? Go ahead.
No, I'm
Well, in
good.
20 years, like, so different fashion trends come up, every 20 years, after 20 years, they can come up. So in 20 years, they'd be rocking face masks, you know what I mean? Because, like, oh, well, back in the 2020, back in 2040 comes around, we're rocking face masks, for fashion.
I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. Like they're probably going to invent something that, well, that they invented those things now that people have. They wrap around their head. It's like a face shield, whatever. That just looks goofy. I don't know. I mean,
No,
to me, I'm
I
not gonna do
never,
that.
I never, through this whole thing, I never once wore a face mask outside or gloves.
Oh my god.
I never one time, and I'm talking to people, I never one time. And we were in the drive-through the other day, and we were getting like a Starbucks, and I'm looking at this car in front of me, and this lady had gloves on, and
Yeah.
my wife was laughing at me because I made this comment. I said, those gloves give you a false sense of security. And she's like laughing at me. But I'm like, dude, like you wear these gloves and then you go out and you do your stuff. You do know you're supposed to take off the gloves when you get back in the car, right? Because if you keep the same gloves on all day, isn't going to make no difference
Yep.
whether, you know, so
Yeah, and how you take them off too, like that's a
yeah,
big
yeah.
deal.
So
So
yeah,
gloves are not, well, from my perspective, they're not advisable because you're actually just spreading the germs more because you think that you're okay. You're actually spreading them more. It's better
a
if you
false
just
sense of hope.
wash. Yeah, if you just wash your hands or use
Yeah,
antibacterial,
yes.
that's better. Now the face mask, I am very pro face mask. There's like a pro con. So obviously
Wait,
you're
so
so I'm
you wear
taking
you,
your con, right? You're against the face mask. Is that what I'm hearing?
I guess I mean it's okay, but I just never did.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
I don't think you're dumb for wearing a face mask. The glove thing I think is silly. I think it's like, dude, doesn't make
yeah,
sense. Unless you're
the
actually
gloves.
like taking them off between every, you
Yeah.
know, if you're going, you know, but the face masks make a little more sense. I get that, but I just never, me and my wife never did that. We never.
Yeah. So the face mask, I wear a face mask every time I am in a building. So not outside. I think outside is silly because like the chance of you actually getting the virus or giving it is very 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 slim when you're outside,
Mhm.
right? Um, However, when I go into a building or if I know I'm going to be within a few feet of someone, I'll put a face mask on. Typically a bandana, I'll wrap it around or whatever. You know, I look like a gangster or whatever. And
You know what? I'm gonna request right now for our YouTube audience. You got the bandana right
I
there.
do. I have it because it
Can you
was hot in
as you're
here.
talking? Can you show us what you
So
do?
this is going to be a how-to bandana wear
How
before you go to
to
Trader Joe's. So
Trader Joe's.
this is how I do it. Now I am
Ooh,
not a
organic.
crip, so that's how I do it right there. That's how I do it right there. There you go. For all you on YouTube, you have it there. So you see what I mean? You can't tell when I'm smiling. Like right there, you can't. You can't tell when I'm smiling.
I'm
You know what I
telling you.
mean?
See, look in the eyes. For those of you listening on a podcast right now, Mike is wearing a blue bandana. He's from the South Side Crips, and so right now,
Watch out for
smile.
them bloods. Watch out for them bloods.
What
I'm just
we
kidding. I
just
better not do that.
we just lost listeners right now. So you why did you use a bandana?
Because it was at the store and I needed one and I bought it.
True. Okay.
That was it. And we do have some face masks too in the car, you know, for the kids and stuff like that. So I take you're against the face mask, right? So this is important. This is an important debate. Well, here's my argument for the face mask. This is my argument for the face mask. Okay. The face mask, and I've seen this, and by the way, and it's interesting because in Stockton there are a lot of people that just don't wear them, and you know it's like you know whatever, and I get that, like I get the reason they're not wearing it, but here's my argument for the face mask: the people that don't wear a face mask, I automatically think they just don't care. That's my assumption.
Mm-hmm.
So why do I wear a face mask? Because this is the reason. It's not because I'm afraid that I'm going to get the virus. I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
I think I already got the virus, actually. My wife and I, we both think we got it back in like January or something like that.
Yeah,
So
well,
I don't think,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
afraid
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
I'm not afraid of getting it. I think I already got it. But what I am afraid of is if I haven't gotten it yet, I'm afraid that I have it or I have got or will get it. And worse, I will give it to someone that I care about or someone just, you know, that's elderly or, you know, that could get it. And that's what I'm concerned about. So it has nothing to do with
But how?
me.
But
It has to do with them, not
so
me.
are you gonna wear face masks till the end of the rest of the year?
I mean, I think when I go into a building, when there's a lot of people there and there's a possibility I could spread it. And
So
if
is
the
that your new norm now?
if they tell me by the CDC, and you know, the powers that be, that we don't have a handle on this coronavirus and it's still spreading at rapid rates and, you know, then yeah, I mean, I think that's just it's just the way it is.
What?
So face mask, as long as you're in a crowded, enclosed place. So like if we're outside at the park and we're all social distancing, there's no need for a face mask. But if we are all at Walmart and we're crowded in or at church,
Yeah.
I think everyone should have face masks on. Not because we're afraid that we're going to get it, But and this is the problem. This is the problem I see with people. They say, "Oh, I'm not afraid of that. That stuff's not real." Well, that's telling everybody around that you could care less about them. And then you got to stop about the ministry. And I'll
Yeah.
let you chime in, right? But you got to
Yeah.
think about the ministry. So let's say that Pastor so and so shows up at Walmart and he's not wearing a face mask. Yet everybody else in the Walmart's wearing a face mask, but the pastor's not. What
Mhm.
is that pastor saying to everybody else around them? I'm not afraid of this. Well, who cares? It's not about you. What are you talking about? You're not afraid. Whatever. It's not about you. That's the problem. Everybody thinks it's about them. It's not. It's actually about everybody
So
else. That's my
so
perspective.
ministers should wear face mask by default to make their community feel
I
better.
don't know. It depends if they love people. I mean, that would be my
I love people and I don't wear a face mask.
I'm just saying.
You're trying to say I don't love people. You're
I'm
trying to
trying to
say
say
you're
that.
trying to. I mean, but that's
Do
the
you
it's.
care if someone like? How would you feel like? Do you think? Okay. Do you think it's a
Go ahead.
possibility that you could have coronavirus and
I
you
think
could give it to
I
someone
think I already
else?
had it. I think I had it
Okay,
too.
okay.
Like you,
But
like
let's just
in
say, let's
December.
just
So not
say,
too far from when you and your wife had it. But in December, we went through 2 weeks, 2 weeks of horrible sickness. Me and my wife, like horrible sickness, and so I think I may have already had
right.
it.
Well, and so you've
But
had the
anyway,
antibody test, right? But here's the thing, right?
anyway, but again,
Um,
I haven't got tested yet, but I think. But anyway, go ahead.
but okay, so let's just say, what if it came out that you had coronavirus
Hmm.
and you went to visit your great grandmother? I don't know, just an elder in the church or
She's
something.
already dead.
Yeah. So an elder in the
Okay.
church, right? That's super old or whatever, and they're not feeling well. And turns out like they got the coronavirus from you, and they ended up in the hospital with pneumonia and they died. Uh,
Oh,
what what
okay.
what is that? Like, does that matter to you, or do you care about them? Or
Mike, you there? You there? Yeah.
sorry, so I was breaking up.
Sorry, it was my part. Pause over here. No, no. I don't have this like great answer to back it up. Is like, I just feel that I don't feel the mask thing. Wearing one around town. Okay, if people want to wear it because they, I don't say believe because I will stir feathers. Believe. Okay, like your points are valid, but just like to be honest, my complete approach to it is like, you know what? Like, it's nothing to do with I don't care about people. Because that's the thing. I don't think that way. I don't think that I'm not wearing a mask because I'm making a stance like I'm trying to show I don't care or I'm not bothered by it. It's a real thing. People are dying. Okay. Do could I have had it? I might have had it. Do I think do we need to build immunity towards it? I mean, if yeah, we do. Yeah. I mean, you talk about things I can't control. Like I can't control. Like I know people, or I've read that people did everything right and they still got it.
Yeah,
So I don't. You know what I mean? Like I mean, you could do everything right. You can go to one bathroom and catch it. Like now
for
now,
sure.
now, it's so no, you're absolutely right. Like if you're wearing a mask, for those reasons, and I mean they're valid reasons, but I just, if this is rampant as it is, I mean, like, it's not because I don't care about anybody. It's not because I don't care about the elder. I don't care about the people. I mean, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm actually I'm susceptible to this stuff, and so I don't know. I mean, for me personally, man, it's not a question of do I care, and I just like I don't know. I just don't wear a mask.
So like, if someone were to
I just
tell
don't wear a
you,
mask.
yeah, yeah, and that's fine. You can do that. It's a free country. I don't agree with like in LA they've made it illegal to go outside without a mask. Okay, that's kind of
Yeah.
crazy because that's a stupid rule. That doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
However, um, for me, it's like what does it hurt to put on? Like if you're to tell me like, hey, if you just put on a mask and it might stop this coronavirus thing, it might help prevent the spread. Is putting on a mask such a bad idea? Someone say, "Oh, it's projecting fear. It's giving into the." Well, first of all, no, it's not doing any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All it's doing is saying, "Hey, look, I know this is a big deal to you, and I know that you might be afraid. I'm not afraid, but I know you might be afraid. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
put this on for you." I don't look at it as I'm protecting myself. I look at it as everyone there should know that I care enough about everyone in the building that
Yeah.
I, just in case I have it, I don't want to spread it to everyone else.
Mm.
And I think that's the perspective that we should take. It's not about being afraid, and it's not really about inconvenience. Is it really that much of an inconvenience to put on a mask? Like we tell people you can't come into a restaurant without a shirt. No shirt, no shoes, no service, right? It's like on every single
Hmm.
restaurant everywhere. Is that an inconvenience for everyone to put shirt and shoes on? Like to have clothes on? Is that an inconvenience
At
for
a
you?
time in my life in the past, I would have said yes.
But you still had to have it on. Like that's
No,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
point, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. I'm
I think
glad you're
that
passionate.
people,
I'm glad you're bringing up valid points, and I'm glad you're passionate about
and
the
you have
mask.
nothing to say about it. So you should be
Yeah,
wearing a mask
I don't wear a mask. I don't wear a mask.
because you don't love people.
Exactly. That's it. I don't live. Stockton. No one. I just don't. Okay, I'm gonna say I don't see the big deal out about it because I do see the deal about it. And I mean, technically wear a mask every day. I was going to the hospital, but I
Why
I
did
don't
you wear a
know
mask at the hospital?
because they made me wear one.
If they wouldn't have made you, would you have worn the mask?
Probably not.
So you would have been okay spreading germs to everybody in that hospital.
Mm, I guess. I mean, you put it
Why do
that
you
way. I guess
why
so.
do you think they make you wear a mask in a hospital? Like especially during this time. Why do they make it a requirement?
To not spread it.
I'm just saying. I mean, you can
I
fight
guess on
science
that
all
now.
you want.
So so you'd say I have to get a red bandana now.
Well, if you want to be on opposite sides.
Well, it sounds like we already are, bro.
No, I mean, and I get it. I've been thinking about this a lot, and people
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
and this is what I don't
Studies show that
appreciate.
people that wear masks think about it a lot more than people who don't wear masks. I
Yeah.
just, dude, like, I'm not, I'm just, I hear, if I mean, wouldn't you, I mean, if you got it, if you get Corona,
You don't know that you got it. That's the thing. My
yeah,
friend just had it and he didn't even know he had it. He had a random checkup and he didn't feel any
mm,
symptoms. He was asymptomatic. That's what that means. You don't feel the symptoms.
yeah,
But even though you're asymptomatic, you're still contagious. So you can spread it. So that means that you might feel fine, but you can give it to someone and they
mm,
might get symptomatic and they might have
mm.
symptoms. You know,
And I
until
get
it's
to say
gone.
my entire family, like my parents and like my brother and my sister-in-law, them, they all wear masks. They all think I'm crazy for not like
Well,
you're
I mean,
why don't you wear masks.
it's not that you're crazy for not doing it. Like, I don't think that you're putting yourself at risk by not wearing a mask.
But you're saying I would put other people at risk for the possibility that I may have it.
I'm saying you are putting other people at risk by not. And for me, if
I've
there's,
been around enough people that haven't. I think I don't.
you don't
I
know
got
though.
it. I'm putting the thermometer. I don't got Corona.
So what percentage would it take for you to shift your view? And maybe, and all you listening, and this is, because I'm sure there's people on both sides of this
Yeah,
argument
yeah.
listening.
And,
If
and
you
I
are,
apologize for those of you non-mask wearers. I'm not doing a very good job of defending not wearing a mask. I just don't like wearing a mask. That's my deep answer. What about building immunity?
I don't know much
What
about
about
herd
building?
immunity. I
What about
do
building?
know,
Because that is something being thrown out there that is a fact that if it's something out there that we shouldn't be trying to build an immunity
but
towards it.
that's not something we've set out to do though. So
Yeah.
if herd immunity was the goal, right,
Mhm.
then we shouldn't have ever locked down. Like we should have like there's some countries they never locked down. They didn't do the traditional lockdown thing. I think it was the UK. The UK tried, or was it the UK or whatever, Britain, wherever. They were doing they tried not to lock down. They're just the elderly. And that's the thing, is that the herd immunity is going to be for those of us that are under a certain age
Yeah.
and don't have pre-existing conditions. Everyone else, though, the problem is that the people with pre-existing conditions and the elderly, they're still susceptible even when creating a herd immunity. So we're all going to be a part of that immunity eventually once it reaches a certain number. Again, I'm not an epidemiologist or whatever. I don't know the numbers and I don't really understand it all, but I do know that those people are still susceptible. The point of the matter is, though, I think that it's like, are they asking us to do something that is so unreasonable? And I would say, okay, let's take like, because I've thought about this a lot, actually. I really have.
Well, what do you?
Let's take putting a car seat, or putting a what's it called, a seatbelt. You put a seatbelt on. You can choose not to put a seatbelt on. It's against the law, but you can do it. So wearing a, let's just say Chris doesn't want to put a seatbelt on. You're breaking the law, whatever. But technically, you're not going to kill anyone else but yourself.
Yeah.
So it's, you're taking your life in your own hands. The problem is that you have the possibility. So if it was just about you getting sick, yeah, then it doesn't matter. You don't have to wear a mask. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're getting other people sick, if
Mm-hmm.
there's just a 1%, 2% chance that I could infect someone else and they could die, that 1% is enough for me to mask up before I go to the
I
mall.
see.
Because it doesn't
I
matter to
see.
me. It's literally, it's not really an inconvenience for me to put a mask over my face. That's like putting a shirt on to me. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's really not an inconvenience here. Like, it's not. And all of those, you think that's an inconvenience, you're being, I think it's very selfish and self-centered. That's my personal perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even worse for the ministry. It's even worse. And that's my perspective. And I think it's absolutely irresponsible, because we should be leading the way in this thing. And it's not fear
Well, let
mongering.
me ask
That's
this.
my opinion.
Well, talk about leading the way. Being leaders. What's your thoughts of our president? He doesn't wear a mask.
He wears a mask, but he doesn't wear it during the press conference. And he's different because he's the president. He has to strike an image. As a matter of fact, when they caught him wearing a mask, like at like a dinner, and they asked him, "Why don't you wear a mask during the press briefings?" He said, "I would never give the press the satisfaction." He said something like that. You have to look it up, but he said, "I'll never give the press
Mm.
the
Yeah, yeah.
satisfaction of me wearing a mask in front of them." So he does do it. And now, of course, not everybody, it follows the mask rules and all this stuff. And I'm not saying that we have to have a mask
Yeah.
on every time we go outside. Again, I don't think it matters when you're outside, and I don't think it matters, when you're in your car, definitely. But I think when you're getting close to someone, I think it's becoming a common courtesy that you put a mask on. It's like, I know for me, like when I'm talking to someone that doesn't have a mask, that they obviously don't care if they're spreading anything to me. You know. Now I know people think. Well, I know we've been talking about this a long time, but anyway.
Well, those of you listening, yes, me and Micah don't always see eye to eye on everything. People get nervous about this show. They're like, "Do they always get along?" Yes, we get along, but we don't always see eye to eye on everything.
Of
So
course, yeah, no, no, it's
that's
still.
why as I invite Mike, I'll invite Micah to a barbecue. He'd be like, "Wait a minute, is this a trap? Is he gonna trap me?"
I think if
it's a I see what you're saying. I don't think what you're bringing up is stupid. It's out of the ordinary. I mean, just I don't. I see exactly what you're saying. I do, and I'm going to reconsider my stance on no mask wearing. You brought up some good points, um, and so I'm gonna go and consider this.
do you think that anyone would look at the church different if they saw, okay, what if the church, yeah, like during Gavin Newsom, like most of the churches reopening, we've already mentioned it multiple times. There only could be 100 people there, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when we all get together and no one has masks on? Or 90% of the church has masks, doesn't have a mask on, maybe 20% or 10% do, 20%, 8%, whatever. Well, what happens when there's just a small portion of people that have masks on? And they take a picture of that, and how do you think that's going to be perceived in the public? Good or bad? And do you think it matters?
I don't know. I don't know if it matters. Like it's become a point where some places made it mandatory, but I mean, at least where we're living, it's more of a choice and option. So I think people might look at it depending who it is and be like, okay, they're choosing not to wear a mask. Okay, these people are choosing to wear a mask. Um, if it was something that was, you have to wear a mask, that'd be one thing. I wouldn't be in like some great rebellion. Like, okay, I have not as rebellion, but if part of the startup for the church is okay, every active minister has to like wear a mask, because reason I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna buck up against it because it's not some like personal there's not some personal point I'm trying to make here. I just don't wear a mask. But I think if a picture's taken and viewed, there'll be those, just like right now, there'll be those like myself that said, okay, some people wear masks, some people aren't wearing masks. And then individuals like yourself that would say, why isn't everybody wearing a mask? Or kind of, taking it deeper, like, not deeper, but why are they allowed to do that? Are they going to spray? I think we're another issue to be divided on as a people, like mask
Yeah.
or no mask. So I really think people look at it, despite all the facts, despite all the information and valid stuff. I mean, nothing you said today was like, okay, that's kind of far fetched, but still, it's like, okay, I'm still going to view it that way.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
so
I
my,
think
my perspective though is, what do you think the community is going to say about the church? Like, how are we going to be viewed by not wearing masks? Positive or negative? And then does that matter to you?
I don't know. I still think like some people see a big deal, some people don't see it's a big deal. I really think it's not. I don't think it'd be a big if we had church tomorrow. I don't think there'd be a huge. I think there would be a huge uproar, depending, but it would be people who are passionate about wearing masks would say something. Our particular community here, like, it's not really. That's why I have the opinion that it would people be kind of like don't really think a big deal. You take this to the Bay Area, you take this to the areas where it's like you said, basically mandatory to walk around with it. They're not wearing masks. Then there'd be a huge uproar.
Yeah.
Um, I think for this particular area, it wouldn't be a big deal. But it may be. So I mean, when churches open up, you go back. Will you be part of the group wearing masks into services?
I mean, to me, like, okay,
Because that would be a closed area.
right.
Because
Yeah.
that'd be
I think that everyone that comes should have to wear a mask. I think that should be mandatory.
But will you
That's my
wear one?
personal. I think I should. It would depend on the unity. Since I'm not the pastor of the church I go to, I'm not going to go against what my pastor would want us to do. So I'm going to stay submitted. However,
That's interesting, though.
it makes sense to me that everyone should have a mask on. I personally think they should have masks on, but for the same reason, I think when you go into a closed room, a store, that you should have
Hmm.
masks on. Like it's a matter of, could
I
it
don't. But
spread to
that's
some of
that's
our.
and I'm not picking at it, but to be so passionate about mask wearing, and then when doors open up, it's like, well, I wouldn't wear a mask if they didn't want me to wear a mask.
Well, again, though, it's about being considerate, right? So I think I should. Now, the reason I wouldn't wear it to church is if my pastor said, "None, no, don't wear your mask," or "Don't wear a mask." I'd be submitted. But do I think I should? Yeah, I mean, I think we should all wear
You'd be
masks.
you'd be submitted and be taking a huge risk.
Yeah, I think so. And I would be socially distant, obviously. Like, I wouldn't be, you're not. And this is gonna be different for our churches, right? Because you're not gonna be praying for people and
I
laying
mean, I
hands
think
on
right
people.
now, people listening, those of you who stuck around long enough for this conversation, like you're seeing, two opinions in the church right now of where, the next phase when we go back to, is how far do we go? Like, are we doing enough? Are we not doing enough? Are
Do
we, are
if
we,
if you have
so,
people in your community that believe that everyone should be wearing masks, like their leadership has said in the government,
mhm.
and they show up to your church and none of you are wearing masks, do you think they're going to stay? See, I think that we've
Probably
completely
not.
missed.
Yeah.
I think we completely missed why the church is even here, right? Like, I think this is part of the problem, is that we are so beholden to our tradition and what we want, that we're not willing to move 1 inch. And I get the argument of don't wear a mask, because, but it's oftentimes in response to like an overbearing, overreaching, like we've talked about, government
Yeah.
like in Los Angeles where they say if you go outside, have a mask on. Well, that's silly. That's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Uh, so no, I'm not going to wear it just going outside. But also too, I want to every visitor that has been freaking out during this pandemic, that is scared to death and they're worried. I want them to know that they can come to our church and they can feel safe. They can feel like we care about them, because we do. We literally do care about them, even though some of us don't show it. We do care about them. We want
By
them
not
to be
wearing a
safe.
mask.
And we want them to be safe, and we care about their kids, their grandparents, their everybody, and I want them to get the Holy Ghost. I want them to get baptized. So I want them to know that we're cleaning everything. We're taking precautions, extra precautions. We're being diligent. We're doing our best. We're doing everything that we can do, and we're not afraid, but we want to let you know that we're taking it serious, and that we're looking out for you. And I think that you're going to start seeing this play out even in economical settings. Like, I think businesses that are proactive here are going to start seeing the benefits of that. And it actually, there was a video that surfaced. I don't remember if it was Monday or from Memorial Day, but in New York, a guy or someone went into a Costco or some store and without a mask on, and it wasn't the employees, it was all the people in the store that were cursing at them. I think it was a guy or a girl, I don't remember, cursing them out, and a fight broke out. Because this, I think it was, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, but whoever the person was, they don't have a mask on, and everybody in the store, so not the employees, not the cops, the people were like, what are you doing? Well, again, it goes back to, do you actually care about people? Like, do you care about other people's safety? If they truly do feel like that you are impeding on their safety, and so take it as an American, but then what do you do as a Christian? And then what do you do as a leader, as a preacher, as a pastor, trying to influence those people?
Every Christian needs to wear a mask.
Okay, well, if I walk into a city and I'm trying to win every person in that Trader Joe's, that Costco, and I'm trying to get them to come to church, the first thing they see is me without a mask on. Is that working against me or for me? Okay, I think we've talked about this a lot.
No. I mean, I mean, you're provoking a lot of thought here. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of thought here as far as what is it going to look like. Those very same things. Like, are we gonna lose people because of it? How's evangelism look after this? Are we gonna? I mean, forget passing out tracts right now. Like, don't give me anything. You know what I mean? Like, at the same time, take a receipt at the store, though. So, I mean. No, I think you're bringing up a lot of good stuff, as far as thinking about it, which I guess we'll see, it depends on, I think it depends again on the area,
Sure. Yeah.
That matters. Stockton doesn't care that much, but like we have I don't know, we haven't had a massive outbreak and nobody wears masks over here, like barely anybody.
I think it's like 50-50. I was at Trader Joe's today. I was at
what I'm saying is like the whole 50/50. It's not community like the mayor didn't say you have to wear a mask. It's not required. Some stores you do. So I would say, like you said, maybe 50-50, to where the places that I like I said, people are getting by not wearing masks and there has been no outbreak, to where there's places that maybe there's places that are wearing masks that do outbreak. I don't know. I guess maybe I fall in that category of people that just like, I don't say don't care, but it's like, I don't know. I guess I'll kind of see what happens, So, but good discussion.
Yeah. Here. So that's our show today. I don't know. Do you have anything else to talk about? We talked quite a bit about the face masks.
No, I just want to sit in the awkward silence after this.
Awkward silence. we disagree, but that's okay. Disagree. And I think it's gonna play out. And I am excited that churches are coming back, and it's going to be an interesting next step. But hey, if you have yet to follow us on Spotify, be sure to do that. If you have yet to subscribe on the YouTube channel, please do so before this is ending. Go ahead and click that notification bell so you get reminded every time we drop a new video. It is always a pleasure. We're excited about the Daily Radical. We're going to be staying on the content, dropping some new videos coming up this next week. Be sure to tune into that. We're excited for the Daily Radical. I'm Micah. That's Chris. We'll see you next time.